For the next company here presenting at Aktieportföljen Live, we'll be switching up the language as Nanexa is here. It's a drug delivery company and CEO David Westberg is right beside me. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
So you'll be presenting. I'll simply hand over the word and then I'll return in a moment to ask some questions.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, Charles. Yes, hi everybody. I'm David Westberg, the CEO of Nanexa. And I will present the company and where we are right now. And at the end, I will also go into the rights issue that we have ongoing right now, actually, with the last day of signing up, actually on actually tomorrow or Thursday. But you need to look at the different banks, what day would be the last one. So we're a company based in Uppsala, at the former pharmacy Upjohn site in Uppsala, where we have our facilities with both lab and a pilot facility and offices, of course. And we are a company working in the field of long-acting injectables. And it's a drug delivery technology that we have developed that we call PharmaShell. And I will explain a little bit how that works in just a moment. I will come to this slide first. Why do we work with long-acting injectables? Well, there is a huge need actually in the pharmaceutical market, in the business of pharmaceutics, to look at the patient's situation specifically for patients being on chronic diseases or very severe diseases. It has been shown that actually many indications the patients don't really take the medicines as they should, or it could also be so that they need to come in to visit the hospital very often to get their treatment. And of course, being able to solve that problem so that patients actually have a treatment the whole period that they should have it is of course something that will increase the efficacy of the treatment as such. Also for the healthcare system, we all know that the healthcare system is limited by the resources. And of course, if you can have a long-acting and have a more effective treatment, it will save money. It will save resources at the hospitals. And that goes then to the payers who pay for the treatment, pay for the treatment of the patients. They are also a key stakeholder in this, and they really want to have effective treatment options for the patients, and having a long-acting injectable is one means of doing that. And actually the last one that I would like to point at is actually the sustainability. If you look at many products where you need to have daily injections, most of those are one-time use syringes, and they will create waste already after being used one time. So if you compare a product that you take one time a month or 30 times a month, it of course creates a very different amount of waste to the environment. We have 3 projects ongoing in this company, 3 very good projects that we believe very strongly in. 2 ones in the oncology field and 1 in the very, very big and huge type 2 diabetes market. The 2 first ones, Next 18 and Next 20, goes into different indications in the oncology field. The first one, Next 18, is MDS, myelodysplastic syndrome, where we actually ease up the treatment from having 7 injections in 1 week to just 1 injection a week. And then there is a 3-week resting period, and then there is a treatment week. And of course, exchanging the 7 to just 1 is a huge advantage. For Next 20, the patients that goes on, it's the multiple myeloma patients. They take 1 capsule each day for a month and then continue next month and so on. It has been shown that the adherence to treatment is quite poor also in this treatment or in this indication group. So we're about to change that, and that could be really, really good for the efficacy of the treatment, to change that to an injection once monthly. And that's something that is done on the doctor's office, and then the patients don't need to care about taking the pills or the capsules every day. For the type 2 diabetes, there are products on the market today that's once daily or once weekly. What we aim at here is to take a product that is once daily to make that a once monthly injection. And we have seen when the once weekly products came to the market that there was a quite quick shift from the once daily to the once weekly. And we actually expect that when we come out with a once monthly, there will be a similar switch on this enormous market from once weekly to once monthly. And as you see, we foresee that this product alone could have a peak sales of over multi-billion US. So that is really encouraging going forward. And I'll focus a little bit on the next 22 project, as we see that as our primary focus right now. I've already said it's a monthly injection. We can see that less than 50% of patients with diabetes achieve the glycemic goals that are recommended. So the people that have the type 2 diabetes don't really take the medications as they should. And having a possibility of a once monthly injection is something that dramatically could change that, is what we believe. We have a very good advisory board here with Professor John Buse in this advisory board, and he, I would say, is one of the key opinion leaders of the world actually in this area. Looking at the market then for GLP-1s, you've probably read in the newspapers about the GLP-1s in obesity and the use of that in obesity. I'll come to that in the next slide. But also for type 2 diabetes, it's a huge growth in the market from about $30 billion right now to above $70 billion in the 9 major markets. And that is for type 2 diabetes. And for obesity, it grows to well over $25 billion in the same time range. That gives well over $100 billion in yearly sales. And taking a part of that market is, of course, something that we are striving towards doing. I will also go into, we have both our projects, the next 22, next 20, and next 18, and we also have partner projects. And one that I would like to highlight is the partner project that we're doing together with Novo Nordisk, the Danish company that is actually Europe's largest company when it comes to market cap. And the reason why they are so big is actually the sales of their GLP-1 products. Ozempic and Wegovy, the Ozempic for type 2 diabetes and Wegovy for obesity. But Novo Nordisk signed an agreement with us December last year, for evaluating our technology with one of their compounds that they work with and have on the market. And they wanted to have an exclusivity for doing that in that specific substance field or API field. And they paid about $4 million for having that exclusivity during the evaluation period. And the evaluation, I should mention, is just an evaluation in preclinical studies. So there's no clinical efficacy or clinical PK in that evaluation. It is limited to PK in animal studies, in preclinical animal studies. And they paid another $500,000 for the work we're doing, and they also invested in Nanexa with $2 million and are now our actually biggest shareholder. This collaboration is going on in a very good manner, and might come to that a little bit later. Of course, we have a history. Our chairman of the board, Göran Nando, was actually former the chairman of Novo Nordisk, and is one of the persons behind the very big growth of that company. Started off the GLP-1 programs in Novo Nordisk in the obesity area. So he has an extensive experience in that field, and that is of course very good for us to have him on board. And others that we have on board, I think it's important to mention that we have an extremely experienced management team in this small company. We're a small company but have a lot of competence, and many of these are on an as needed basis, I should say. So we don't pay salaries for all these. We pay, some of them are as consultants, but very loyal consultants, people that I have worked with in many years, also prior to Nanexa. And many of them have a long experience in the big pharma companies and also in smaller companies. So this team really knows how to take a product from ID to the market. And that is extremely essential actually for a company like Nanexa. It's not just important when running the projects, it's also important when having contacts with the big pharma companies. And of course we have a very good board of directors as well that helps us steer the company towards our objectives. When we come then to the PharmaShell system and what we have achieved during the years, we can see that we have worked both with small molecules, we have worked with peptides, and also actually a very large biologic molecule that's called monoclonal antibodies. So we have been able to formulate them with the PharmaShell technology, both for 1 week depots, for 1 month depots, for longer depots. We have been able to control what's called the initial release or the burst release, and that is something that is extremely important when doing long-acting injectables. We have also, when it comes to monoclonal antibodies, control that we do not ruin this sort of affinity to the receptor when applying monoclonal or our technology on monoclonal antibodies. So we have seen that the affinity remains after our process, and that is essential for being able to formulate those compounds. As you see, the 3 projects that we're running, we have taken them through animal studies, preclinical studies, and 2 of them actually we have performed phase 1 studies in. And we're very proud of that. And so we have been able to, this is now a technology that has been clinically proven, sort of, and that is very important. Many of our partner projects we have taken into preclinical evaluation. No one yet in clinical, but we're waiting actually for that, and we're looking forward to take 1 or 2 or 3 of these into clinical development as we go forward. But one thing that is important to mention is that all of these projects are improvements of already marketed products. And that is good because we can base the dossier that will be sent into FDA or to the European authorities, linking that to the original product's NDA. And that shortens the time of development quite a bit, actually. The time for projects is decreased by many years. And also, of course, the cost and the risk. So the risk of these projects is much less than a risk of a new chemical entity. And that is important to distinguish that, actually. When it comes to the future and licensing deals, which is our holy grail, of course, and that we're working towards every day, we're focusing on 3 priorities here. It's the Next 22 project that we are, where we look forward to being able to out-license after the proof of concept in phase 1, actually. There is a strong link between the pharmacokinetic profile and the efficacy. So we believe that when we have human data in phase 1, we will be able to go out to different companies and look for their attention and hopefully sign agreement with them. That said, we will also plan for a phase 2. Whether we need that or not is uncertain at this time. Novo Nordisk, of course, Novo Nordisk is something that we are focusing on as well, because we do see a very big potential in such a license agreement with Novo Nordisk. They are a huge company, and the compound we are working on have possibilities to, with a long acting with that compound, we believe that could be a very, very strong product on the market. That said, we also have partnership programs ongoing with other big companies, and a few of those we expect to be able to take into broader development agreements or even license agreements within this time frame of 1 to 2 years. Other possible options is, of course, the next 18 and 20 project that we're running, and there we look at the possibilities of actually maybe going into co-development with a big pharma, or actually develop them to a proof of concept and then out license. So then going to the rights issue that we are just about to actually close in a couple of days. It is in total 121 million Swedish crowns. We have secured it to 75 million by subscriptions undertakings and guarantors. Novo Nordisk is taking their part of about 20 million, and there are other shareholders and also the board of directors and the management team that fill up to about part of that 75 million, and the rest is, of course, by the amount is 24 million, and then the rest up to 75 is by guarantors. It is a split of, for one share you get option to sign 2 new ones, and the price for the issue price is 1 krona per share. And you see the dates to right here, that it ends the 26th of October, and we will be able to announce the final outcome the 30th of October. And how will we use the money? Well, as I mentioned, we will focus on the next 22 project. Absolutely, and we will start a clinical study, the first clinical study in that program, early next year, and we will be able to have a readout of that study. In addition to that, we will actually be able to also have a pre-IND meeting with FDA to have their view of the program, the clinical program for getting such a product approved by FDA. And that is important because then we build sort of a sales package with PK data and a program for approval, and that adds a lot of security to the ones that would like to license this product. The next 20 we have just finalized the first clinical study, and we will continue with the formulation optimization to be able to prepare a phase 1b study and to have that ready for start. And we will actually put a lot of focus also on the PharmaShell formulation development, specifically when it comes to biologics, since we see that as a huge area for our PharmaShell technology. To provide even more data on that is something that will be very important to be able to get contracts on that. And we will also work towards minimizing what is called the injection site reaction. We have seen that with our products, the next 18 and next 20, and we know since long that this is something that could be could be seen for all actually long-acting injectables products. And we see great possibilities with our PharmaShell technology to minimize those kind of reactions. That could actually be both a position for new IP, and it also could be a great sales benefit actually for the PharmaShell technology. Of course, we will work, as I mentioned, with the Novo Nordisk project, and we will have more preclinical data available in that program. And we will be able to, one or two of the partner projects, convert it into development or license agreements. And if we see that we get the full issue subscribed, we will add on what you see on the right hand on this slide, that the Novo Nordisk evaluation will be completed. We will come into licensing negotiation if they find the results being good, and we have strong belief in that we will find very good results in that collaboration. We will we will be able to initiate a phase 2 study in next 22 if needed, but we will absolutely plan for that. In next 20, we will also be ready for initiation of a phase 1b study, and that is taking the next 20 up to the doses that are relevant, clinically relevant. And that is something that we really look forward to. And in next 18, we will continue with the preclinical work to show superior efficacy. That's something that we have been advised by our advisory board to look at, because they see that this could be a really good potential in that project. And we will actually look for starting yet another project that we call Next 24 or Next 25. And the start of that will of course be based also on that we have the economical resources for doing that. But there is a lot of alternatives that looks really exciting, so that we would like to start as soon as we can. And this slide gives more details about the different projects that we're running. On top you see what we have achieved, and in the bottom in the blue area the milestones going forward. And when it comes to Next 22, right now we're about to select the final formulation for taking into clinical development. We're about to finalize the clinical protocol and submit the clinical trial application. The preparation for GMP batch manufacturing is really ongoing at the pilot facility in Uppsala, to be able to then start the clinical study early next year. And as we also mentioned, we will be able to have this first FDA meeting, and that will be very important, not only for the Next 22 program, but also for a general use of the PharmaShell technology. When it comes to Next 20, you see that we will focus on the formulation development, and we will prepare for the phase 1b study. And for Next 18, we will continue with this preclinical evaluation that I talked about. But really, we will focus more on Next 18 if we get a full issue subscribed. And then we see the preclinical efficacy study, the formulation development, and preparation for phase 1b. And I think that is the last slide, so I'm open for questions.
Thank you very much, David. So the Next 20, I know there's a lot of focus on Next 22, but I wanted to cover Next 20 as well. The phase 1 study is now complete. What's the next step here? Can we expect a proof of concept already in Q4?
Q4 for this year?
2024.
2024. I don't think that you should accept, could rely on us being able to have a proof of concept in the clinical dose. However, I do think that we already have sort of a proof of concept when it comes to the PK curve for this compound, the lenalidomide. It is really good PK profiles that we have achieved already. We need, as I mentioned, to tweak the formulation to be able to minimize the injection site reactions, to go up to the level of clinical relevant doses. But that's something that we will prepare during next year and be able to sort of finalize that formulation development and then take it on into let's call it a clinical proof of concept in phase 1.
What sort of license agreements do you expect from Next 20? Are you already in conversations?
For Next 20, we have some very brief conversations with some companies, but no negotiations at this point. They do want to see these clinical data first, and that's normal. Sorry.
Next 22, you're expecting it to head to clinical trials in Q1 2024, but what is the timeline of completion of that study? When can we expect a proof of concept there?
You should absolutely be able to expect a proof of concept by next year for the Next 22 product. So we are in the preparation of doing everything we can to start the study first quarter next year, and it all looks very good, very good, and we're working with this German CRO called Profil, which is a very high quality CRO that is very I should say focused on working with the GLP-1s and type 2 diabetes. So we're really looking forward to having all that data by next year.
There's a lot of viewers also, of course, curious about the cooperation with Novo Nordisk. Could you begin by elaborating how that collaboration looks in practice? How are you helping each other?
Well, in practice, what is happening in most of our evaluation work, and that goes also for the Novo Nordisk, is that they provide us with substance, material, particles with their specific substance. And then we normally coat them in our process in a series of number of batches, and they take it back for evaluation. We do some evaluation in our labs. And I can mention specifically for the Novo Nordisk, we work with them. They have a quite big team actually that they have set up, and we have meetings, every second week, I think, for status reporting, for planning, and so on and so forth. So I'd say it's one of the better, I'd say maybe the best evaluation and collaborations we have had so far.
Do they help in any way of getting new contacts?
Well, you know, the fact that we have this agreement with Novo Nordisk is, of course, creates rings on the water, so to say. So yes, they don't, you know, help us directly, but just the fact that we have this agreement helps.
When you think of Novo Nordisk in recent times, you think, of course, of Ozempic as well as Wegovy. And there's a question here, how Nanexa sees Next 22 being used or positioned as a weight maintenance product for those who've reached their goal or their targeted weight and wants to keep it without further weight decrease.
Well, what I can say is that we focus right now and in the Next 22 project to get it approved as a drug for type 2 diabetes. The difference between type 2 diabetes and obesity is actually the dose. It's a little slightly higher dose in type 2 in obesity products. So we're focusing on that. The liraglutide product compared to other GLP-1 products could be definitely in parallel on the market, taking different market shares or being positioned in a different way. But the obesity will be sort of a next step, the obesity treatment indication as a next step, but not, we will focus, it's important to focus, so we'll focus on type 2 diabetes. It's a huge market for that as well. So.
The rights issue then of 121 million you get at full coverage. What's the newest thing? What's the newest update there? How does it look with guarantees and commitments?
Well, I think we have announced the guarantees, the guarantee consortium, and who who have signed subscription undertakings already in the prospectus. But what we are very happy about